Hello, simulation people. I am Eli Gumble from Great Ormond Street Hospital's Clinical Simulation Centre, and I'm going to take you through setting up for remote simulation using OBS Studio, which is the software you see around my face. First off, you're going to need a copy of OBS Studio, which is a piece of free open source software built for managing broadcasts, which I'll link in the description. A copy of Zoom, Microsoft Teams, or any other video meeting software. A computer capable of running both OBS and your video meeting software. Most computers will be able to do this. I have an i5. That kind of processor should be fine. Basically, any laptop you already use to run Zoom should be able to handle this as well. Vital signs simulation software. The free one I use looks like this, where the training window looks like that. If you have a spare copy of whatever your mannequins use, that might be usable as well. We use a spare copy of SimBaby software run on a different computer to show. Well, this will all become clear later. Camera input from your simulation center you'll need. You may have a camera system which has an HDMI output which you can split and route through a capture card, or you may wish to set up a new USB or IP camera which can interface with your computer. You will also need any necessary images for your scenario, such as blood gas readings and x-rays. With all that together, we can begin. When you open up OBS Studio for the first time, you'll give it a blank slate, which I'll recreate by setting up a new scene collection. Scene collection is going to be called OBS Demo. First off, create a new scene with the plus button in the scenes box. Okay, it's already there, it's called scene. We can rename that scene by right-clicking, rename, Demo 1. Not very imaginative today. Just one for now, because we can make a screensaver scene later. Now we can start putting things in this blank space. Anything which can appear inside a scene is called a source, and it's added with the plus in this sources box. Let's start with a video capture device. This could be your center camera feed run through a capture card, but for me it will be my computer's webcam, so we can label that in case we add any more soon. You see the feed there. You can do various things with brightness and contrast, things like that. So this default view is fine for me, so I'm going to press OK. That'll be here. We can resize it by clicking and dragging one of these boxes on the corner, and if we want to crop some of it, we can hold Alt on the keyboard and click and drag there. Let's say that's what we're going to need for the moment. Next up, we can add a static image. We choose image. This is going to be, say, the logo. You get to browse your image files, and let's say CSC logo is going to be there. There we go. So I'll have this in the corner as a sort of placeholder for bringing up other images later. Let's say the scenario we're running will involve your candidates requesting an X-ray is taken, or blood gas, because blood gas is the one I have in the folder. We can position this blood gas on the screen. Make it a good size so people will be able to see it. Position it there, and we click this I button to hide it. And when it gets to the point in the scenario where they'll have blood gas results, click the I again, it comes back up. We also want to add our patient monitor, which in this case is a window on my computer. So we go New Source, Window Capture. So for us, that looks like this. You choose the window you want, and you can choose any of these windows. So if you change the window to that one, and you can say if you've window match priority is one. So if you've got one with a slightly different name, it will try to find this similar enough version of what you want it to display. So we'll crop that and we'll place it there. What we'll actually do is we'll move this logo by clicking and dragging up the source order so it comes in front of that, so we can hide some bits of it. And let's just, okay, we can't actually stretch it. We can only crop, click and drag within this exact proportion ratio. That's the one. Text is another useful element. We will add some text, and you add it in the same way with text. We can edit the size, the font, and the color of the text once we've put, let's say, hello world. You can choose all your fonts, you can choose your regularly bold. 72 is the highest one on the list, and it's normally good enough for what we need. We can also change the color here, give it a background, slide in the opacity, like 50% in black is pretty much good to go over anything and still be red without fully blocking everything out. Things you might want to put in the text are things like reminding them that this is scenario 1 of the day. And the last important thing to do is make a second scene as a sort of break card. So we're going to go source scenes, screensaver. And this could just be as simple as some text in the middle, which says, say, break now, back at, let's give them 15 minutes, 14:45. And I think there's a way to center that as well. Yeah, alignment center. I haven't looked through all this window, all this pop-up menu, but it's definitely stuff you can do here. You can also, say, put in a QR code, an image linking it to your evaluation at the end. If you're preparing a lot of these, you can pre-make them in PowerPoint and export them all in one go. Switching scenes is as simple as clicking the other scene, and you can, if you want to fiddle with the transitions, you can do that here. I haven't done that before, it's not really needed. Fade is the default one, and it's generally fine. For the scenarios that we do, we'll often have a fourth thing up here, which is the person-mounted camera. So we're trialing this with something called DroidCam OBS, which is a free app for Android. It's got its own plugin within here. So if I open that on my phone, you'll see it's giving me a Wi-Fi IP and a port number. So I put those in this menu. 192.168. I'll activate, there you go. You've got to do that. And that has opened up another camera. So basically your candidates will be able to see, let's say, a whole room view on this below bit, and then this will be strapped to the chest of one of the people in the room, and you'll be able to see from their perspective with this view, which we've been trialing, and it should work, hopefully. Your hospital Wi-Fi mileage may differ, but as far as I can tell, this should, as long as you're able to connect the PC and the phone to the same Wi-Fi network, it should work just fine. So that is all the basics. Now we're going to have a look at making things easier. Studio mode is a button down here on this side, and that brings up two screens, so you can edit things, move things around, say you want to switch these two, and you don't want people to see that while you're moving it around. You make your changes here, and then you transition, which brings up your live screen to up to date, and you can say change things around with that if you want to extend the break. And there you go, you've gone on a break. Once this is all ready, we can connect to the video call software. Newer versions of OBS come with a virtual camera feature, where the software packages the output screen as a feed, which can be selected as your video on Zoom or Teams. So what we're going to do is make sure the virtual camera is on. I say start virtual camera. I didn't do this first time. Hit Zoom. Zoom down here has a start video button with start video we need to see. There we go. So that'll bring out the output of our OBS onto here. In terms of audio, that's all managed on Zoom through this here with our audio source. OBS can use audio feeds, but for this purpose, Zoom is a simpler option. Our setup uses a Bluetooth speaker with a built-in microphone, so our remote candidates can speak to the room and hear what goes on in there. If you're using Teams, then you'll be able to set your camera with this settings gear on the camera feed. Switch camera to OBS virtual camera, making sure that OBS camera is switched on in OBS, and go join now. This image is lit to me, but it won't be for anyone else on the call. If you right click your feed, you can go Spotlight Me, which is what we'll need to do to show this view to all the candidates. I'm going to continue the rest of the thing in Zoom because that is what I'm more familiar with, and everything else pretty much is about the same between the two softwares. Now it's time to set up the simulation. When we do this, we do a meeting, not a webinar, and we ask our attendees to pin the simulation center to the Zoom window. We can't do it in a call of one. If you're doing this with Zoom, each person will have 3 dots at the top right of their name, and you'll be able to pin them. You'll ask all your candidates to do that. We use a meeting because we still need to hear our candidates' voices, and doing that in a webinar means we'd have to make all our candidates co-hosts, which is just takes longer. I'm going to show you a clip from our early trials, which is still a good demonstration of what a distance simulation session over Zoom looks like. We have a room view with vital signs, a candidate watching and speaking to the whole room through a Bluetooth speaker placed on the bed, and a chest-mounted camera attached to the operative who carries out the actions discussed by the candidates. This is a screenshot of a session which we ran last week. An update to Zoom means that a meeting's host can now spotlight multiple camera feeds for everyone to see. This allows us to have this layout of one full room view next to a chest-mounted phone view with the audio coming through the phone, and it worked quite well. As the scenario progresses to a point where X-rays or blood gases are needed, you can unhide them to display them, but I recommend that if your candidates will need to read a document with a lot of text like a protocol or guideline sheet, that you send it to them beforehand as a PDF, which they can refer to in a separate window. Once the scenario is over, you can switch the Zoom camera back to your webcam, or just off, and the audio back to the PC microphone, which it was there anyway for me, and you can begin debriefing, asking everyone to unpin the simulation center screen and switch to gallery mode, which again, because I'm on a call with one person, I don't have. So that is about everything you'll need to know to start using OBS Studio for simulation uses. I hope you'll be able to put it to good use. All the relevant links will be in the description, and please leave a comment if you have further questions or to share what you've been able to do with it. Thank you for watching.